boy, stop being lazy. Yeah, and I became creative. And I learned how to create it. And now that pride's for me. So come see. Oh, come eat.
Welcome to the Silver Lining Podcast. We are with you with a QuiqSilver reaction. It will be the final one for the Falcons this season, unfortunately. But it ain't all bad. It ain't all bad. It ain't all good. It ain't all good, but it ain't all bad. I am your host, Sterlington. This is your co-host, Cam. I am the man, Cameron. What's going on with you, Killer Cam?
Contrary to most Falcons fans, I actually don't feel that bad after the loss. Yeah, it sucks to lose to the Panthers. But hey, we had some questions, and we may have gotten some answers. And that gives me hope going into next season. Michael
Hey,
Penix
man.
looked good, man. Michael Penix looked good, and we did not lose in spite of him. He was not the problem. Yeah, we had that interception that kind of changed the momentum of the game. The one that Ray tried, the one Ray tried to corral in, and he popped it up in the air. Hey,
No, that was a drop.
It was a drop, but hey, Ray had a tremendous season. Ray had a good season, arguably his best season in the NFL. I'm not going to let that one mistake take away from how good Ray has played. But hey, that interception changed the momentum. Carolina came to play. They were able to get the ball in overtime, and we weren't able to touch it, and they won. It's unfortunate, but at the end of the day, we may have our guy. And that's a lot to be hopeful for, man. I'm excited, man. I'm already ready for next season.
Yeah. Look, I'll take that much from it, right? Because I think you, me, most viewers were sad to not have an NFC South title this year, especially after what expectations were. But at the same time, I think we all had a point during the game where the Falcons had lost momentum and looking like they were going to lose, which they ultimately did. And it was almost a relief to see the Bucs win because it would have been the most Falcon thing ever to go into a game needing to beat the Panthers and the Bucs lose to the Saints, and we lose to the Panthers, and the Bucs actually lose to the Saints, and that's how the Bucs win the title for the division. Because we couldn't take care of business at home, even though we got everything we needed to get into the playoffs. Seeing the Bucs get that W, it was like, all right, well, now this game kind of doesn't really matter. The only thing that matters now is the things that matter long term, right? Because once playoffs out the window, now it's about, all right, what do we have to build off of going forward, right? And you're gonna get a higher draft pick, right? And Michael Penix looked like him. For in back-to-back weeks, we have seen a quarterback that when all the marbles were on the line, he was able to make all the plays you needed him to make to put the team in position to win.
Thank you.
That has been honestly a blessing, right? Now,
bear with me now. It was very reminiscent of. It was Matt Ryan-esque.
It was, man. Like seriously, and honestly, even better. Like, did you see his arm, man?
Did you see the throws to the outside? The throws, like he was able to. And granted, it's a good problem to have. Sometimes he overthrows guys. Sometimes he overcooks the ball. Hey, it's a problem I'm willing to have, baby.
No, and look, I'm gonna let you know, and we discussed this. We discussed this on this podcast. You guys, if you want to look it up, I think we at least discussed it on the bye week when we discussed Michael Penix, because we went over everything on our bye week episode, right? Penix, he was always, like, when I watched him in college, he was always prone. Excuse me. He was always prone to having a couple of throws that were kind of errant. Right. Usually they're gonna be overthrows, but sometimes the throw just not there. It's not usually like the kind of bad overthrows that lead to picks though. You know what I mean? So usually because of the areas he likes to target. But you saw a lot of those pluses when you saw the deep ball to Ray McCloud. When you saw that fade route, the back-to-back fade routes to Drake London. You know what I'm saying? On that 3rd and 20, where he rifled that thing in there. Like, those are the kind of plays that you're going to get with Penix. You know what I'm saying? And you can also have them kind of plays where he like overthrew. Was it Bijan like went out on a wheel route?
Yeah.
And he missed him. Was that this week or last week? I think that was last week. And on last week when we played Washington, when Raheem should have called a timeout. On that play, Michael Penix did miss a throw though. So, that's kind of one of the things that happened that, we don't discuss because we all think Raheem should have taken the timeout. But ultimately the throw was there. And Penix missed it. And occasionally, those are just going to be the kind of plays that happen with Penix. But when you talk about how he throws the deep ball, how he rifles those throws into the tight windows, you're just talking about a guy that can make every throw. And by make every throw, I don't mean he can throw a deep, throw a short, whatever. I mean against good coverage. If you got good coverage deep down the field and you need him to get it in this one area, like this throw that got like a 3% probability of being complete, that's the kind of guy that Michael Penix is. And you saw in that incomplete pass, there was a deep shot to Bijan. I think that was on Bijan. He didn't leave him enough room on the sideline, but he ran it and he was leaving the linebacker, and then Penix just dropped it right in. Those are the kind of plays you can look forward to. And you got to remember, this is only Penix's 3rd start. He has not played with these guys all year. He's not played with these guys all year. Right? So we got a lot to look forward to. Just even if they don't. And Darnell Mooney didn't play this game. So he's thrown for a career high 312 yards. His first multi-touchdown game, he had 2 touchdowns and a rushing touchdown. And he did all that without his second best receiver on the team. I think Drake London had a career high 187 receiving yards today. So their connection seems to be going really well. But yeah, and we scored a season high in points, 38. So we scored 38 against Tampa, but we got that extra 6 in overtime. We scored 38 in regulation, including the late touchdown. So it's a lot to be excited about. I know a lot of people are going to still look back and think to themselves, especially when they look how some games went. You're going to say, hey, maybe we could have started Penix. Maybe we could have got this earlier. We could have spent Kirk's money elsewhere. But you gotta not if you're gonna do this that kind of backtracking, you gotta put yourself back in the headspace of how everything was and how the decisions were made with the information they had at the time. You know what I mean? I'm very much of the belief that when they took Michael Penix Jr., they weren't planning on taking a quarterback. I think they signed Kirk. They were happy with Kirk. They had intentions on taking somebody else. And then when they went out to the pro day, they saw Michael Penix throw. They said, oh, this guy's amazing. And then they said, all right, we're going to rank all our quarterbacks. They had Caleb Williams 1. They had Michael Penix Jr. 2. And then they say, all right, well, clearly the second best quarterback going to be off the board. So we're just going to, stick with the plan. And then 8th pick comes up. Quarterback that you thought was the second best quarterback in this draft. And if we're being honest, based off of my evaluations, and I'm not like a super draft guy, but I will take a real good look at all the top guys. I watched a lot of Caleb Williams tape. Caleb Williams, I see why he was the number 1 rated quarterback, but it's going to be more for his escapability because he got a lot of Johnny Manziel in his blood. He's like a guy who can scramble around, wiggle around, make a lot of shit happen. But quarterbacks like that need a coach that can really rein them in and help them pull it together. But when you talk about Penix, that's a guy who was ready-made for the pros, right? And that's what we're seeing now. We're seeing a guy who despite the fact that this early in his career, he looks very poised. He understands how to manage the play clock. He understands how to change plays, all of that, make sure everybody get lined up. And, him getting the chance to sit for 14 games might be the reason why you see the version of Penix you have now. You start him from the beginning of the season. You'll have a better throw of the ball, but you might not necessarily have a guy who's as polished running an NFL offense from day one. Now, I won't sit here and say that maybe at some point, we could have started him earlier, but it wasn't justified at the time. I do think that, ultimately you should be happy about it. The Falcons threw a bunch of resources at the quarterback positions, and gosh, golly gee willikers, they might have fucking got one. So that's one thing, right? Now with this game, one of the things this game and the last game did disappoint me in was the defense. They had a little spike after the bye, and I kind of needed to see them carry that momentum all the way through the tail end of the season, right? And then we had some sputters. We had the sputter with the Vikings, but the Vikings got a lot of horses there. I can't forgive that, even though it was particularly bad. I don't know if the Vikings scored that many points against anybody else this year, but then you get that game against Washington, where in the first half we put the clamps on them. In the second half, they started having Jaden Daniels run more, and we don't have an answer for that. Then in this game, we got our asses kicked up front. Carolina, they invested very heavily in their O-line, and they pushed our D-line around. When they decided we were going to run with 4 wide receivers to make you have to cover those guys up, then we run it up the middle. We run it with our 5 against your 5, and your 5 can't stop them. And then when it came to getting pressure, if it wasn't a pure drop back situation, we didn't get any pressure. So Bryce Young, he stood back there with his core receivers, with Adam Thielen and Coker and Leggett, and I'm like, that's not really that impressive a receiving core, but he was able to do everything he needed to do. Dave Canales, the coach for the Panthers, he was in his bag, and he kind of had Jimmy dancing today. Yeah, Jimmy dancing today, huh?
I think Bryce had a career day today against us.
I mean, he had 5 touchdowns. I don't know how many 5 touchdown games Bryce Young had in his career.
I think this was his first.
Yeah, I would like to fucking think so.
Hey,
so yeah, we
another player on the opposing team is going to have a career day against us.
Yeah, that's the Falcon way right there. Tried and true. You coming off a bad game and you in a slump. Oh yeah, you play Atlanta, and you're gonna play the best game of your life. Hell, we might get you a contract you don't deserve. That's how good your game against us is gonna be.
Oh my God.
You finna get you paid. So that part of the game was disappointing. Another thing that was disappointing, I think this might be an underrated issue for us. We need to make sure we get our kicker situation right. I know
I agree.
We jumped on Raheem about his timeout usage, but look, I know it's maybe I'm modernized with my feelings on the NFL. I've been watching NFL football for a long time. There was a point in NFL history where a 56-yard kick was a goddamn lot to be asking of a kicker. But Riley can't even hit consistently over 50. That is inexcusable to me. Like, fuck. The kick, no, I think I'm wrong. No, maybe it is. Was it the kick that Younghoe Koo had in the first game against the Saints, the game at home, when he already missed the kick that game? Wasn't that a 56-yarder to win that game?
I believe so.
So even in a shitty Younghoe Koo season, he could still hit a goddamn 56-yarder to win the game. And, my guy Riley Patterson, he couldn't hit the 56-yarder last week. It came up short. He had a 52-yarder that swung way off. And that was one of those ones that kind of put us in the bind, and you can't live like this, games don't play out this way. But, if it did play out the same way, that drive Michael Penix had would have been to win the game instead of to tie the game if he makes that kick. And I'm like, I know it's a long kick, but I don't think that's unreasonable kick to expect your kicker to make. You
No,
know,
I
in the
agree.
NFL. You know what I mean? If it would have been like a 60-yarder, all right. You know, but like 56, man, anything really under like 57, 58, I'm like, come on, man. Like, especially indoor, come on, all right?
No, I agree. I agree. He does not have the leg for the NFL. How he was able to get another job is beyond me. But of course, he's the kicker for Atlanta and missed some kicks when we needed them most. So that's
Yeah.
part of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. That's something we need to get situated. We've had some kicking woes this year. I'm not going to completely abandon ship on Young Wei. He's hit too many game winners for us. Um, him being hurt was a big reason of him missing those kicks.
At
So
least down the stretch, yeah.
I'm gonna assume a healthy Young Wei will go back to his old ways. So I'm gonna give him the off season. I'm gonna give him the start of the season. If Young Wei starts the season, he's missing kicks. Hey, we may need to get a new guy. But if not, hey, we're good. We're
Yeah, it's
good.
just something that we might have to do. I'm not saying that I'm not ready to get off of Young Way either. Not because it was a bad year. You know, sometimes that shit happens, man. Sometimes your quarterback throwing more picks than he ever threw. Sometimes for a running back that don't really fumble, he fumbling more than he ever has. You know, sometimes that shit happens. But that, I think the part that was alarming for me, historically, and look, maybe this one of the times you look back at Thomas Dimitroff and say, shit, Tommy wasn't good at everything, but the things he was good at, he was good at, and he was usually good at handling that kicker shit. You know, when Matt Bryant would get hurt, we bring in Italian ice, Giorgio Tavecchio, and shit.
Yeah.
And Giorgio Tavecchio was doing the damn thing. And, when it wasn't working out with him, they brought in Young Way Cool and shit. And the rest of that time, we was set. But I think the part that alarmed me was that, Riley Patterson being the backup plan. And it wasn't a good backup plan. And I'm like, well, we do have a new GM. Maybe Terry don't handle that shit so well. And I'm like, if we running around here with, bad play at that position, I'm like, yo, man, Terry, I need you to
Oh, of
get it together.
course.
So we might go more into this. This is a QuiqSilver reaction. So this is right after the game. Obviously with the season being over, we're gonna talk about the game, but because of the Bucks' victory, the game was ultimately meaningless. It's not like it's something to talk about next week. So we're gonna bounce around a little. And one of the things I think we floated out on the podcast already was, and I know this is controversial. But I've been wondering if maybe we should focus more on settling another cornerback position than an edge rusher. I know, I know, I know. What is this guy talking about? Especially in this game where we didn't get a sack. Another way we got our ass whooped up front. Didn't get a sack. They rushed for how many yards these guys rushed for? They rushed for like 150. It had to be at least, right?
I want to say,
Um,
yeah.
Maybe it wasn't quite that much, but maybe it felt like more. But I feel like it was at least 150. I remember them having 125. I know the Falcons went crazy on the ground. Just let me know when you
Yeah,
get there.
I think it was over 150 because you got Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders was 66, Black Shift 47, Bryce Young 24, Boone 18. Yeah.
All right, yeah. So that was just another way we got our ass kicked up front. But man, look, there's times where like the ways the other teams focus and eat off of the other corner, and no disrespect, but usually it's the Alford. I'm like, yo, man, if we could just get another guy back there that can handle the coverage part of things. Because my thing is when I think about the draft, man, I'm like, you getting a young guy, unless you get a Micah Parsons, like a guy who from day one, or an Aaron Donald, a guy from day one, who when you put them in, they are getting not just pressure, but converting those pressures into sacks. Then you already looking at a guy that's not going to be ready for like 3 years or so, 2 3 years maybe. Unless you get like like I said, one of them guys that's like, oh, this dude's gonna be a Hall of Famer. And it's not that you can't now, not to poo-poo on the Falcons some more after we done already lost and not going to the playoffs, but I still stay up awake at night thinking about the 2017 draft when we took Takaris McKinley ahead of TJ Watt.
I knew
Because
you
I
were
just
going
remember
to
thinking to myself, and I had no business necessarily thinking this, but I'm just like, he a Watt. Like, what the fuck, nigga? If Joey Bosa could come out and be good, and then Nick come out and be good, I'm like, look, I know you can't just go off a family name, but I'm like, he's a Watt. Just get him.
Exactly.
But whatever. And so long story short, we might be able to get a guy like that, at our current draft position. But I think if we got a chance to get a lockdown corner, we might need to look at that.
No, I've been slowly coming to that conclusion as well. Don't get me wrong. Sorry, right now, we still got a couple games to dictate where we draft, but right now we're currently picking 15.
Yeah.
If we don't get a marquee pass rusher at 15, then I'm cool taking a marquee corner. There's going to be a good player at that position. Hell, I'm even cool taking a tackle or something. To me, those are our big three needs: tackle, pass rusher, corner.
I know I want to defend it. That's the one thing I do know.
Yeah.
I'm so my thing about a tackle, it's hard to say if it's a priority, right? And I think you consider tackle. I think which position you take depends on what kind of player is available, what level of player is available, right? Because if you got like a chance to draft like the next who give me a great tackle off top, Laramie Tunsil.
I was gonna say Laramie, Joe Thomas.
Yeah, no, matter of fact, no, let's go all the way up there, and there's no chance this would happen at 15. But if you had a chance to if Trent Williams just fucking sitting there at 15, well, yeah, you take him. But my thing is, I know we concerned about Caleb McGarry's play. His contract is on one more year. He's got one more year with us next year. That's it. And he would be Penix's blindside protector. But my thing is, I can't take for granted what McGarry does in the run game. Like McGarry is like that's our mom masher. That's like our only guy. That's like whenever we start getting on one of them roles where we power running the ball, it's gonna be on Lindstrom and McGarry's side.
Oh, of course.
You know
McGarry
what I'm
is very
saying?
physical. He may lack
So
certain qualities in pass protection, but when it comes to running and actually being physical and putting a motherfucker in their place, McGarry
yeah,
knows how to do that.
right. And I'm like, he played most of this year hurt too. So like, maybe he can. And look, I know. Because there was a couple times, like I don't remember who it was, but I think it might have been Clowney. Clowney came from the backside, and Penix saw him. He was able to break out of that and then throw the ball away. But we've seen a couple of plays so far this year where guys get a backside pressure on Penix, and that shit is scary. Like it is kind of nerve-wracking thinking that could be a common thing. Like I think about the first game of the year with TJ Watt and how, once it was super obvious to the Steelers when we were passing and when we were running, boy, McGarry was getting this, man, he could not stop the bully from taking his lunch every day. McGarry was getting his ass whooped by TJ Watt. It was bad. It was bad. And if that's Penix there and he's lefty and he can't see it, it seemed like that could be worse. But hell, Kirk was righty, and you know what he did? He just ran up and slapped the ball right out of his hands. So, my I guess I'm just rambling a little bit. My thing is I'm okay with that, but I really am I think I'm ready now that we might have our quarterback of the future. I think Penix give me that top tier feel. I think that's why we're excited about Penix. He just give you that oh shit. Do we got like a Patrick Mahomes level guy? Not saying he's Patrick Mahomes. Calm down.
Like, yeah, I agree, but like he gives. I'm not saying he's that guy, but right now for me, he could be potentially a top 10 guy. Now, top 5 is different. Top 5 is like, oh, you're consistently elite to the point where teams are winning Super Bowls because of you. Top 10 is good. Don't get me top 10 is elite as well. But when you start getting in the top 5, that's like a Hall of Fame, that kind of guy. Like, I don't want to get there just yet, but he
No,
has
no, no. You ain't
shown
got to crown him, but just tell me off of potential, man. Like
off
when you talk,
potential.
because look now, I'm about to be real now. Look, I'm a Falcon fan. I'm a Matt Ryan truther. I got a Matt Ryan jersey, all right. But I never looked at Matt Ryan as like a guy who could be the best quarterback in the NFL. You know what I'm saying? I looked at him as like there was times he was a top 5 guy. But he was more of like a good year put him in the top 5,
Yeah.
but a normal Matt Ryan year put him top 10. You know what I'm saying? Like this year, Patrick Mahomes, he had a rough year this year, but for most of his career, you like, oh yeah, this is one of the best, is in, 1 or 2 or 1 or 3, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Or 1 of 1,
Mhm.
but sorry, I had the window open, y'all. I had to make sure ain't nobody was trying to run up on you, boy. Just them squirrels, man. Yeah, but Matt Ryan was a great passer, but he never had a huge arm, and he wasn't super mobile. He did a lot of what he did by being accurate, by being a guy who could anticipate a lot, by a guy who could read defenses. All right. But Penix, he's showing you a guy that, he'll have some issues with his accuracy, but his issues with accuracy won't be like on every throw he throws a bad ball. It's just he's gonna have the occasional ball that's like, oh shit, you missed a kind of open guy. But then, when he also gonna have lasers and strikes to like he gonna thread the pinhole, you know. I think he's got like a huge arm. I think like his arm and arm times accuracy is amazing. It's top tier, right? And he's mobile. He's more mobile than people think he is. He's never gonna be a Lamar Jackson type, right? But he actually is probably more capable of running even right now than you're thinking. The rushing touchdown was cool, but I think he's like a guy who he can occasionally get you like a 20-yard run on like a 3rd and 12 when you need it. You know,
Oh, for
um,
sure.
yeah. So I'm like, and then you see him at the end of these games, man. The end of these games, right? 3rd and whatever, 4th and whatever, it don't matter. Ice, cold blood running through his veins. Matter of fact, it ain't even running through his veins. The blood's so cold, it's frozen. It's just standing still. You know what I'm saying? So like, you got a guy like I said that might have top tier potential. So I think with all of that said, I'm gonna be a little upset if we don't start saying, all right, it's time to give this man a defense. How this man come out here, 3rd game of his career, we score 38 points and we lose. We scored 38 points and we lose by giving up a season high 44 points to a team that their best running back just went on IR.
Their best corner, IR.
They best deep lineman on IR, but he was on IR the first time too. But I'm like, that's a team that's gonna be getting better next year. And Bryce Young got stability at his head coach and play calling position. Hey man, we better get it together. But yeah, I need to see us address defense, man. And I
Oh,
don't
for sure,
exactly,
man.
yeah,
I agree.
yeah.
I agree. I like you said before. The thing about Penix, man, it looks good. Like on paper, just like he passes the eye test. He passes the eye test, man. He looks like a guy. Now, is he the guy? I'm not gonna crown his ass just yet, but he has potentials of being the guy. I liked what I saw from him. Granted, we were playing the Panthers, but hey, they've been playing very well since Bryce took over the throne, took over the helm again. They've been playing pretty well. They've been playing some good ball. They haven't really gotten their ass beat. Granted, they got their ass beat against Tampa
The
Bay.
Bucks last week, yeah.
Yeah, but aside from that, they've been playing pretty well. So I agree, man.
And
I'm
look,
excited for the future.
the
I'm
other thing
excited.
too, and when you start talking about it and why it's so important to have a guy of that caliber with that position, do we not have a guy of that caliber at the position in the backfield?
We
Got
do.
Bijan is looking like yo, Bijan's amazing. He got snubbed. Like, who made the Pro Bowl? I'm trying to remember who made it. And I know Saquon made it. Because I know Josh Jacobs made it. And no disrespect to Josh Jacobs. God bless that man. That man did he did yeoman's work for me in fantasy. But I did not think Josh Jacobs should have been in over Bijan. I was kind of astonished. Like, I was a little blown away because it was him and I think Jahmyr Gibbs. So I think it was
Jahmyr Gibbs and Saquon. I agree.
I'm with that.
I agree.
Okay. And honestly, if there was another back that had the same year as one of those, I would have been okay. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, hey, you had an amazing year. But I'm like, damn, man, Bijan had 1,800 all-purpose yards. Bijan got double-digit touchdowns. Like, what the fuck more he need to do to be in, and I mean, Josh Jacobs, he had a lot of touchdowns too. But he did not have the yardage Bijan had.
Oh, he didn't.
He did not have the yardage. He was not used quite as much. Like, he definitely had a lot of games where, he'll have like 67 yards, but he'll have 3 touchdowns.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And maybe it's because he'll have those games on prime time or something. I don't know. But, yeah, you got a guy like that in the backfield. We saw Drake London getting unlocked today.
Oh, and we didn't have Darnell Mooney. Like, some
of those
targets that went to maybe like Ray or that went to Cordero Hodge, they would have normally gone to Darnell Mooney. And Darnell Mooney is a better receiver. He's a higher caliber receiver than those guys.
Yes.
So who knows? Maybe having Darnell changes the trajectory of this game and we win it.
Yeah, granted, you never know.
Granted, Tampa Bay won, so we would have missed the playoffs regardless. But hey, we have the weapons. I'm on the offensive side of the ball. We have a lot of key pieces already locked up. We got a lot of guys on rookie deals. We got to make a decision about Kyle Pitts. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Hell, we'll discuss that on our end of yearly review episode. But right now, we got a lot of good guys, a lot of young pieces, a young core. On the offensive side of the ball, I'm confident. I'll make another good point as well because people want to get up in arms about the Kirk contract, and I would like to reiterate this. Yes, we did give up a lot of money to Kirk. Yes, his agent deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. I understand this, but you need to understand you got to throw money. You have to throw resources at the quarterback problem. I've said this before. The worst place any team can be as a franchise is in QB purgatory. It's the worst place you can be. San Francisco was almost there. People should have been fired over that Trey Lance draft pick. But you know why they weren't?
Brock Purdy saved their job, man.
You know why they weren't? Because of Brock Purdy, a guy they took for the last pick in the draft. That's why. Brock Purdy saved jobs. Hell, we paid all that money to Kirk. And Kirk at one point was 6-3 and threw for 500 yards. And he completely crumbled. And you know what? Kind of saved the day? And you know what kind of saved the season? And you know what is the reason why I'm not sitting here salty as fuck? Like, damn, we wasted another year of quality talent? Because we used the 8th pick of the draft on a quarterback who turns out he might be the guy. That's why. After this game, I would normally be upset because, damn, we went 8-9. This is a wasted season.
Yeah, we could have been real disappointed.
I'm feeling pretty good because you know why? We might have our guy. We might have Willie Beeman. Penix looked good. He looked the part. I'm happy about that. And then he can have a full off season to go into next year and have even more preparation. And hell, even Penix, the words from his mouth. I didn't realize how much Kirk had done for me until I got here when it comes to preparation. Kirk prepared this man. Kirk showed him how to be a professional.
Hey.
He showed him how to watch game tape. He showed him how to analyze film.
Let me tell you something, bro.
He gave him the ropes, and he showed him how. And then when the mantle was passed, Kirk did it with the utmost respect. Dog, we needed Kirk, whether we liked it or not. We paid all that money for him, but guess what? We didn't give up any picks for him, albeit tampering. We didn't give up any picks for him, and we didn't give up any players for him. All we did was write a big fat check. Get over it.
Man, look here. when you said about teaching him how to prepare, I looked at the date, saw it was the 5th. I was like, I guarantee you Kirk already did his taxes. That's how much Kirk is about his preparation. Right?
Exactly.
So, yeah. And look, man, sometimes with these guys, you got to remember, Kirk Cousins is a captain. He got the C on his chest. It's a reason for that. Because he know how to conduct himself as a captain. You know what I mean? And it ain't working out, but, look, you just cannot put a real tangible value on having a guy like that in the locker room for your young quarterback. Raheem said it himself. I mean, every time you got to remember, I know we say coulda, shoulda, woulda did this, but the other thing to remember is you an adult, or maybe you're not an adult yet. And if you're not an adult, then I'm about to give you some life advice. All right? You're going to make a lot of plans in life. Plans change. I guarantee you the plan was for Kirk Cousins to play the whole time, for the Falcons to feel like they already got their quarterback of the future locked up. All right? But the whole plan was to avoid QB purgatory. It was about not being in that place. Right? Then Kirk Cousins fucked around and got a flat tire on the road trip.
Mm-hmm.
And then you messed around, opened up the trunk, turned out you had a full-size spare. You was like, oh, shit, well, I thought it was just going to be a little donut back there. No, man, you got a whole tire, and it's the best tire on your car. So sometimes it happens like that, and it's okay. It's okay. Look, I know, it's hard. It's just, look, let's be real now. It's hard as fans to sit here after all of what we've been waiting for. Because, the thing that's hard about being a fan for a team when it's one thing when you have one rough season and then you're waiting for next season. But when it feels like you've been having rough seasons for the last 7 years, you don't feel like you've been waiting an off season for the next season. You feel like you've been waiting since 2017. All right. And so that's when it get old. But you're not waiting for 2017. Hey, look, we're gonna be right back here getting excited for the season in 7-8 months. All right. Be the shortest time you ever did. And when that time come around, you're going to have Michael Penix out there playing the whole year like you thought. All right. We'll see what happens with Kirk Cousins. That'll probably be more for the season review episode we'll do. But you're still going to have Bijan back there. You're going to have Drake London as your one. Mooney's still under contract. Some other guys going to be gone. We'll see how that works out. But every time you think of yourself, damn, man, we 8-9. You remember there's an 8-9 team out there that don't know what's going on with their quarterback. Not for real. It's an 8-9 team out there that is paying a quarterback that they don't really like that, but the market dictated that you either need to pay or go to purgatory. I want you to think about the fact that Dak Prescott is making $60 million a year. And do you know why he's making $60 million? The real reason he's making $60 million is because that's the price Jerry Jones was willing to pay to not be in quarterback purgatory.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? For Arthur Blank, the thing you got to remember when you counting these dollars, you better remember this money come from a billionaire. Right? Already can afford it.
Yes.
You want to know something else? When guys' contracts keep getting bigger, it ain't just getting bigger because they making more. The salary cap went up. I mean, that billionaire making more money.
Absolutely.
And so that's more money to spend on the players because the players get their share of the revenue. So it's that much more money to go around.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And so for Arthur Blank, $100 million guaranteed to a guy that had been a multi-time Pro Bowler, a guy who was on the MVP track last year, at least numbers wise. Yeah. It's a small price to pay to not be in QB purgatory.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Because hey, like I said, matter of fact, and you know what's the best part about Penix potentially being a real dude? Right now, San Francisco got a hard decision to make. They like Purdy. They done been to 2 conference championships and a Super Bowl with Brock Purdy. They don't know if they want to pay him over $60 million a year.
Because if you get paid over $60 million a year, you need to consistently put forth top 5 QB performances. You did
not even just that. If he getting 60, who not getting paid. Yeah, you did that, but you were more than a game manager. He wasn't a game manager. He was a little better than a game manager, but he was kind of a game manager. And it's easier to be a game manager and look good when you got Christian McCaffrey in the backfield. You got Deebo Samuel. When you got Brandon Ayuk. When you got George Kittle. When Trent Williams, one of your linemen. You know what I'm saying? When Kyle Shanahan, your play caller. It's a little easier to do that. But let me tell you something else, though. At some point, the Chiefs was like, you know what? We got this Patrick Mahomes guy. He gets to have Travis Kelce. He gets to have Tyreek Hill. I can't remember who the backs at the time. I don't think the backs were really that good. He got Andy Reid as his play caller. They couldn't wait to slap a contract in front of this man. They couldn't wait to give him that back up the brain. They couldn't wait. It didn't matter that he had all the same good shit around him that Brock Purdy had. They could not wait. That man was in the damn showers after the fucking Super Bowl. They already had the contract drawn up. They were shoving that shit in there. They had it in some like plastic so that it wouldn't get wet in the shower water. They couldn't wait to sign this man.
And I think if you're gonna be a QB who's making that kind of money, that's the kind of energy you have to be able to provide to make that kind of money. Because Brock Purdy doesn't provide. Here, sign this motherfucker. $60 million, sign it. He don't provide $60 million, sign it, whatever. He doesn't provide, here's a blank contract, whatever you want kind of money. He doesn't provide that kind of energy. He don't.
Jerry Jones called out.
You know who does? Josh Allen does. Lamar Jackson does. Patrick Mahomes does. Those guys are like, here's the blank check. Those are blank check guys.
Now, even with Lamar, he went through some shit. Now that was before they was like, okay, he better pass it than we thought. I think they just thought he was a running guy, so they was like,
yeah.
Oh man, we don't want to pay that much money. But yeah, for Josh Allen, they ain't asking no questions.
Exactly.
They said, all right, this is what everybody making the league, and this contract is worth more than all of those.
Hell, Joe Burrow. I'd gladly give Joe Burrow that kind of money.
Hey, couldn't wait to give Joe that kind of money.
Yes,
Joe got T. Higgins. Joe had Jamar Chase. Joe had Kareem Hunt at some. I mean, not Kareem. Joe Mixon at some point, but this year they're running more with C. Brown. What the fuck is his name? God damn it, Chase Brown. So they got weapons, but they like, nah, we don't care what you got out there. You is the man. Pay them. They don't worry about it. And I'm like, y'all just don't know, man. It is so easy to be in a bad place with your quarterback because now you got a quarterback that you can win a championship with, but he's not quite good enough to overcome what his salary does to the team composition.
Hey, that is Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins has made a living off being that guy. He's not a Super Bowl winning guy.
But no, he is. If he's making the right amount of money.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. You can win a Super Bowl with Kirk if Kirk was making 70% of what he was making. Yeah, and that's a couple other players you can get. But no, Kirk getting more of that top dollar-ish number.
Mm-hmm.
And now you can't quite put the team around him that he needs.
And that's why I'm optimistic, baby, because Penix is on a rookie deal. We got at least, because we're probably going to pick up a 5th-year option. So we got at least 4 more years of this. 4 more years of being able to put a team around this guy. Granted, we have to pay other people. But that's a good problem to have because we don't have to pay our quarterback right now. I'm excited about the future because we have options. Now, yeah, we gave Kirk all that money. After next year, we can be out of all that money. Hell, we can maybe even get somebody to take on some of his money that he's due next year. We'll see. Some teams are not going to want to do that, but maybe we can package a deal or something. Maybe we can throw Kyle Pitts in there. I'm not saying I want us to do that because I am a Pitts truther.
I ain't necessarily a truther. But
let me reiterate. Hey, I believe Kyle Pitts can be a key contributor to our team. I'm not ready to give up on him just yet.
Yeah, that's where I'm at, yeah.
But if an offer came in that was too good to pass up, to me, out of all our young core guys, he might be the first casualty. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, honestly, given where his contract is, that's probably his biggest thing. Because with Drake, you got another year and a fifth year, right? Bijan in the second year, you ain't even worry about it yet. So when you look at Kyle, you're like, Kyle, you about to be in your what? This is this his fourth year? This is fourth year, right?
He's about to be in his
Yeah, the
fifth year.
1,000-yard seasons, then the two back-to-back seasons with Mariota and Ritter, and then this one. So the next year is going to be his fifth-year option, and fifth-year option contract kind of got a little bread in it, and it's
Yeah.
like, I can't remember if we already picked it up, but if we already picked it up, all right, we'll have to leap over that bridge, and there's some guys we're going to have to let go, and some of these contracts are shorter. So like, Jesse Bates has 2 years left, right? Next year and the year after that. Grady Jarrett contract, he got like a couple of years left, maybe one. Same with Anyamata. So I mean, it'll level out if you're hitting on your draft picks, and that's why we need to really start investing in defense. But yeah. As far as guys to pay, I'm right with you. You got your quarterback that's young. Because he was the last one you drafted out of all of these offensive players, you keep drafting in the first round. Well, he plays the most important position. He plays the highest paying position, and he's gonna be on the rookie contract while everybody else is already squared away and still young. So yeah, I
Exactly.
mean, it's still a lot to look forward to. And we'll see. We'll see. I know some people want to be disappointed, but like, let's be real. Even if things did go according to plan, none of us was really thinking Super Bowl. We just wanted to finally see this team make the playoffs. We finally wanted to have a winning record. We finally wanted to have some excitement, right? We didn't get the playoffs. We didn't get the winning record, but we still got the excitement.
We got the guy.
And that is the silver lining.
And
Anything you want to say before we get out of here, Cam?
hey, I think we've said quite enough. Like I said before, there's a lot to look forward to. This is one of the first. This is honestly the first season in a long time where I have some optimism, like some true optimism. Like when we had Ritter and we missed the playoffs, I didn't like. I talked myself into believing in him. Like I had to talk myself into that. Hey, it's a quarterback. You know how many first rounders have flopped? You never know. You never know.
Hey,
But
can't be worse than Mariota.
Exactly. But hey, with Penix, I see a guy who can be the guy, and the little mistakes or little things that he needs to be worked on, they can be worked on. He is like the little flaws in his game can be improved upon, and that puts me at ease a little bit. Like I'm a little bit more excited than probably like a lot of fans are. I know some people are a little down in the dumps about today. They want us to make the playoffs. We didn't, but hey, we got Penix, baby. We got Beeman. He was cooking. 3 total touchdowns today, over 300 yards, looked apart, back to back. I wouldn't say game-winning drives, but drives where when you need a touchdown, we got him because of his arm. Yeah, I'm all in on him. I'm all in.
All right. Well, look, before I get in, I'll just say one more thing, and I'm just trying to put in perspective what making the playoffs really means. When you don't really when you're not thinking Super Bowl, right? Making the playoffs is fun. Don't get me wrong. I wanted it bad. I wanted us to make the playoffs. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that that's not the case. But I've been a Falcons fan for a long time. We made the playoffs in 2010. We made the playoffs in 2011. Do y'all remember what those games were and how those games ended? Them games left a worse goddamn taste in your mouth than losing in the final game of the season and not even making the playoffs. Like when we went to New York, lost 24-2. When we had Green Bay, like didn't even score offensive point at all. The 2 was a safety, as you all know, 24-2. So we got yeah. So that was, and you know what? Every time the Giants fans get sad and they decide it's time to watch, the little Super Bowl DVDs that come out when they win the Super Bowl, when they show the Giants playoff run, they show us getting beat 24-2.
Mm-hmm.
In 2010, we lost 48-17 at home to the Packers. when we were the number 1 seed and had beat the Packers that year. Every time the Packers fans get sad and need to put on their last Super Bowl to make them feel better, they showing that beat down in Atlanta. That's what you have to live for sometime when you make the playoffs and you ain't got a real chance at winning the Super Bowl. All right? So, hey, just remember, we might not have made the playoffs. I know that's disappointing, but there's a lot bigger picture that just got a lot better for us. All right? So, thank you so much for joining us, guys. Really appreciate you sticking with us through the season, man. It's been a Falcons type of season, but like we said, man, there's some silver lining there. And, we'll put out some more episodes about some other musings that we have about these Falcons. Look forward to having you then. Thanks for hanging with us through the season. Please like, share, subscribe, comment, and hit the little bell when you want to know some real niggas uploading. Peace.